Good afternoon, everybody. This is Elizabeth Trial. I apologize. It's been a while since I've been here, but I am planning on talking about why this has been something that I rarely share, especially to the public. I'm all on YouTube, but one of my main struggles, especially after all of this happened, it just got worse. One of my main struggles and battle that I've been fighting all my life has been major depression. Yep, I finally said it to the world. But the reason why I am saying is because I, just like me, who has been ashamed of my struggles and been trying to hide it and control it. I know that there are other people out there who have the same issues and trying to hide it and just don't want nobody here. I know that there are other pastors, other leaders who also is struggling with depression. And I know there's other people who actually talks about their depression too. And it's such a big, big thing that I just, this is where I just believe that God has been leading me to deal with. Because my struggles, or should I say, the struggles and the depressions and every other struggle, the purpose of it now is to help somebody else. I know God is going to heal me. I don't know when, don't know where, don't know how. But as long as I breathe, I'm going to try to help somebody else as God leads me to do so. The depression is it was one of the why there has been so many inconsistencies. And we can get on here, inconsistent in the Bible studies, inconsistency in a lot of things. Because I have been yielding to my emotions and letting my emotions take control and tell me when to do something that God tells me to do. And most of the time, I like to do the opposite of what God tells it to do. But my prayer is, and I hope you guys praying with me, is that I do not no longer yield to emotions, that negative emotions. I know that's a lot to ask, and I have to admit, I know, well, I guess it's kind of like God, I believe, but heal my unbeliefs. Yes, after everything that I've been through all of these years, it's a lot for me to believe. But from the books that I have been reading about depression from other people and how other people dealt with it and how God delivered them from, it gives me hope that one day I too will be completely delivered from depression. And be able to help others just like that person is able to help me as I go through this battle. And with my current struggles, anything anything can be a set off for me in a negative aspect. If there is real bad news, that will set me back. due to my childhood, I have always, I do not know why, but there are some reason possibly, but I have always went into being in heaven. And life, I never, ever loved life. I looked at life as a very positive place. I told my mom I don't want to have children. I would just adopt or foster children. And that was because I didn't want to bear children in this horrible world that we have. I always was passive suicidal by wishing God would just take me to heaven, or doing something deadly, and saying, well, it wouldn't be on purpose if I died. Just playing wish roulette with my life. And one day, God set me straight about that, and just being discontinued about life, and always wishing I was in heaven and not in this horrible, terrible place. And as most of you guys know, it's getting worse. It's not getting better. But one of the reasons that I ended up just stop constantly thinking about that is because in the midst of me thinking about that, the scripture came up. And I know it's nothing but God. It would be perfect. I don't know the direct scripture. But I believe it was Paul when he said, in all things I have learned to be content. I have learned to, I'm trying to think about one of the ones. Oh yeah, I've learned to be hungry, and I have learned to be full. I have learned to abound, to be abound, I believe. I don't know. Let's stop on that one part. I do know that part was I've learned to be hungry. I've learned to be hungry, and I've learned to be full. And then eventually, somewhere in that scripture, it said, in all things, oh my goodness, I'm trying to say, I can't think of what it is. In all things, thou hast made me to be content. And instantly I knew God was trying to tell me it's time for you to be content about being alive. Stop always thinking about heaven. He was for that great. Stop always thinking about and begging me to take you away. It's time for you to be content. So, due to that, I haven't really been trying to be content. I'm a long way from it. It has been harder when all of this stuff attacked my body and my mind. I have to admit, it has been harder to still be content and to not go into depression over it. But I'm trying. I guess that's the most important thing, is that I'm trying. And with God's help, we get through every day, moment by moment, we are getting through. My main desire is I want to become consistent. I do not want my emotions to control me. If I'm supposed to be teaching, I need to be teaching. If I'm supposed to be going to minister, I need to go. Instead of saying an excuse about why I cannot go. I need to do whatever God wants me to do, despite of how my feelings are. And if I do that, that actually will lift me up. I just have to do it. And so I think this probably would be, hopefully I see you guys more than that this sooner, but I think this is probably would be my focal points, because I know I am not alone, and there are many, many people, leaders and pastors, who struggles with this so much in secrets, and things that, they can't tell nobody. They can't admit it in person because they're a pastor. They're supposed to be strong. Yeah, there's lots of stuff you don't tell everybody, even you're not a pastor. But there are things that God has given you or allowed to happen to you that it is not, that He did not allow it to happen to you for you to keep it to yourself, but for you to let it go so it can be of a help of someone else. Now I am going to end on this note. Even when I think I was a teenager, I struggled with depression from teenager years and up. I believe I was like 16 or so. And the depression was so bad and was continual. And even though I was 16, I knew that this was just depression, and it was just pressing down on me. And I remember before I went to bed that night, I was crying to God, and I asked God, why are you not helping me? Why are you not helping me through this depression? Why are you not there? Why are you not helping me? And then I fell asleep. The next morning, I literally could not get up. It was as if I was paralyzed completely. No matter how much my mind wanted to get up, I was completely paralyzed with depression. I literally was in bed for 16 hours due to not being able to get up. And in that process, I realized that God was helping me with my depression. And God allowed Himself to remove Himself totally and to say, okay, let me see how you do it on your own. And I'm glad He did, because it really opened my eyes to know that despite what may be happening in our lives, in my heart life, God is still with us. God is still helping us, even though it may not seem like it. It could be worse than what it is, and it definitely will be without God's help. And that 16 hours that I was in bed, I had plenty of time to talk to God before He released that thing off of me. And for the first time that morning, or actually it wouldn't have been that morning, evening, or whatever time it was, I was able to get up. And that is a time that God keeps in my mind, because He wants me to remember, no matter how bad things get, no matter how depressed you get, no matter what is happening on in your body, I am always still with you. I am always still in the midst of what is going on. I am always still helping you. You are not alone. So for those that think they are all alone in here. For those that wonder, where is God in the midst of this? For those that think that God has forsaken them, I want you to know that you are not alone. He have not forsaken you. He's right there in the midst of it. He's right there helping you to get through that situation. And just look up. Look up. Keep looking up. In the midst of that situation, tell them what you need, moment by moment. You have to take moment by moment. One moment at a time, one step at a time. And so that's just what I started doing. And I was encouraged, at least with that Jesus, that God was still in the midst of my situation, just like he is still in the midst of your situation. And I'm hoping that would be an encouragement to somebody out there. And I'm hoping to see you again, to log on again, hopefully a little more sooner than later. Hopefully I'm a little more consistent. And I will talk to y'all again. Bye.